Welcome to Tip Does Loans podcast. So today I have Luis Melo, the land guy. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for asking.
Great. Thank you so much for coming in. We met at an event. I do go to that one often, so that's a pretty good one. I've seen you kind of around your Newport, a couple of the different ones that we go to. But he deals with land, a little outside of the realm of just the usual niches. So I did want to bring him in and kind of go over some other investment options, especially in this tricky market. It's not so cut and dry. Like, I feel like you do need maybe, to diversify, like to have different options, maybe not invest all in the same area. So I thought you could help us with that today.
Sure.
So why don't you just kind of start, and how did you get into real estate and your journey? How did you become the land guy?
Thanks, Tiffany. Yeah, it was great meeting you. I have you on my phone as a loan officer for a bunch of states. Yeah. When I met you and you told me, like, I work in this state, this state, this state, I was like, life. That's insane.
And
how many
all
states?
My links.
Dude, yeah, a lot of states. So if you need a loan, talk to her. She'll be the perfect person. In my business, I don't use loans as much. Yeah. Not at all, actually. So how I started, it was just doing I started being an agent back in 2019. Took the course, passed, got my license, but in the meantime I started going to courses like Robert Kiyosaki. He has a very good event, and I started paying people to teach me and everything else, and during that term I found the land investing. There was a guy that was teaching from Arizona, and he was coming to California. A lot of people had recommended me to go see him, and I was like, let's just do it. I paid one more person to learn from it. And when I got the concept of like mailing a lot of people, at the time was just mailers, and getting these properties under contract, there's very little competition. I was just like blown away. I was like, I can make it happen. I can go after, I downloaded properties. I didn't know any criterias or anything. Yeah. And I just mailed, like, Tiffany, you have a property in Florida, but you live in California. Would you like to sell it to me? And then I would make offers. I would look at the market, not knowing exactly what to do. Let's say the property was worth $20,000. I was offering you $5,000. Yeah. And the first mailer that I sent out was about 1,300 letters, like no criteria. And I got 21 contracts signed.
Wow.
About 80 calls back. This is back in 2019.
In 2019, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's very different right now.
Yeah.
And I do things totally different, which we can talk about. But, out of the 21 contracts, I ended up selling, I think, about 14. The other ones I had to cancel. And there's no earnest money deposit on my contracts unless I'm dealing with a multi-million-dollar project that I want to be sure. But most of them, there's no earnest money deposit. So I just kind of wasted some time learning, of course, but I made money on the 14. Not a lot of money, but here and there, 3, 5.
So are these just land?
Just land.
Okay, so you've always just been
just
that's not like
land.
Wholesale or anything.
Yeah, I'm a wholesaler as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
so was that more like wholesaling?
Wholesaling land
in the beginning? Okay.
Yep. Still, I wholesale to this day. I love wholesaling, Yeah. But at the same time, I'm an agent. I have been an agent for 6 years. So I do have, people that just call me. I don't do a lot of advertising, that they just know. And I just help them buy a house or sell a house. I have 2 escrows right now. A seller from my community reach out to me, so I'm helping him sell the house. We're closing next week. Everything is done. And then he's buying another house, which I helped him buy as well. But the bread and butter comes from land investing. And since I have a license in California, why not? I just keep paying the dues, which are not cheap.
Yeah.
But I love it.
But then it also leaves it open, like you said, you don't have to market or anything for it, and they just kind of like come to you because it's just more that you can offer your clients.
Yeah, because
so they don't have to go. They don't have to go anywhere else. They don't have to send more information.
No,
so
it's a good paycheck as well. Of course, there's a lot of work involved, but being a realtor is a plus. But I would not say that I need to be a realtor to flip land. I don't. Yeah. I'm just an investor. I'm just buying the lots for myself and then selling the lots for myself. I'm not representing anyone.
Yeah. So that's just like, so you pretty, yeah, it's just like your own whole business, like just all profit. So you don't have to be, are you, well, with the realtor, are you sponsored with anybody or?
Yeah, I have a broker down in San Diego, but it's just a different type of broker. I don't give him any percentage of my commissions. It's just like per transaction, I give him a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Because I did everything. I've been with Dilbeck. And they trained me, and they did everything possible in the beginning. And as of now, I don't need training to be a realtor. I just need to have someone where I hang my license with. And I don't want to be a broker. I don't want to pay fees. I don't want to have the liability. I don't want to study anymore.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't want to be a broker, but I think that. But I want to find a broker that gives me. Like, I'm able to build a team. I have a great cut. Like, we have the culture. Yeah, so that's more. And I tell everybody, like, whatever your goals are, but technically, that's not like a stepping stone for me. That's not like an aspiration. Like, I'd rather just get with somebody that has all the great relationships, and then
the system built.
Yes, everything built. Like, it's hard enough getting leads right now, let alone like trying to build, a whole brokerage or and then like, so you mentioned earlier where you went to that event. What was it like? What was the inspiration? Like what like what really like helped?
So I tried everything in the beginning. I tried mobile homes. I tried for sale by owners, everything, And then when the guy told me about land investing, something clicked on me. Like, all right, I can go ahead. And the thing that clicked on me was that I was broke. I was like $20,000 in debt from these courses because they're expensive. Robert Kiyosaki, he charges you a lot of money. So when the guy told me that he was teaching me, like, get these properties under contract, Tiffany, for 6 months. And then you start marketing and you find a buyer that will pay you more money. And then you get the cut in the middle. So essentially, I was the middleman. That's when I was like, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I can wholesale these properties, flip these properties, and I don't have to have my own money, which I didn't. So that's what put me in this position. I was just like, I'm all the way in.
Yeah.
And I did spend some money in the beginning. Of course, you have to have money for advertising, for downloading properties, criteria, but that's not a lot. I probably spent in the beginning like $2,000.
Wow.
With mailers and data. That's about it.
And that is amazing.
And that generated me 14 contracts. And, there was not a high profit. It was like anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. But again, I used the buyer's fund to pay the seller, and the rest was mine.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then doing that, like that was 2019. Now, fast forward, we're like 2025. What have you kind of changed? Or are you still kind of doing the same thing? I know we talked about now you focus on like subdivisions. So when did you kind of take that turn? So
I still love and I still do a lot of buying and selling cheap lots all across the U.S. I buy as low as like $1,000. And I sell it for $5,000. And I buy as high as
what kind of land? Like what?
It's just dirt in the middle of nowhere, but there's demand. And then you build your buyer.
What do they build on it? Like what?
They don't build. It's just future development. This tiny lots, there's no electricity, water, nothing. Okay. But people like to own land. So
but if they pay like $5,000, or you sell it for like $5,000, like how big is the land?
Usually it's like at least 8,000 square feet.
Okay, so you can still
build, but there's no utilities available, right? But the bread and butter also comes from those lots. Like I just got one in Tennessee, so I got another contract for $18,000 with a seller from Canada.
Yeah,
because I do all kinds of outreach, and I'll tell you what I do. I hired a photographer from the area. I have a system built, and I have employees, virtual assistants in the Philippines that help me with everything, right? So they call the photographers, they got the photographers, they have to put for sale signs for myself, Tiffany. Yeah. So I get calls from local buyers, neighbors, and everything else. And I got 5 calls in one day, in about 2 days actually, after the sign was done. And I just sold the contract to someone else for $30,000.
Wow.
The great thing in Tennessee, I don't have to touch my money. So I'm going to do a double close. I wrote a contract with the seller, which was already signed, right? I got the photos done. I spent, I think, $200 with photos. And then I got this buyer for $30,000. So at the time I'm going to be closing, double close, I probably will make $9,500. But I never use my funds. So that's one of the lots that I do. So usually it's a little bit above $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 purchase price, and then you just find someone to pay you that will pay you more money.
Wow.
And my contract right now is 60 days. So I usually don't buy land in less than 60 days unless I know the market. I know it so well that I'm like, let's just do it. If I'm testing markets, which I'm doing everywhere, Oregon, I just tested a new market, and this Tennessee area is a new market, so I did 60 days contract. But now I know that it's a very good lot, and that's why I have the ability to find buyers, because there's so much time. Before, again, it was 6 months the guy taught me.
Yeah.
Put this property under contract in 6 months, and back in 2019, no one knew it. So now I do 60 days, and in 60 days, I do all types of marketing to find the buyer that will pay me more money for it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's and it does seem like just kind of like you have employees now, but kind of like a one man, like just kind of the solo, just kind of crushing it.
Yeah, the business is just mine, but for the subdivision, subdivision is something different that I have learned. So Texas, yes. So I've been flipping a lot of land, right? Yeah. Last year I did 80 deals.
Wow.
A lot of deals. So there's a lot of management. There's my employees. They do all the types of reaching out to a seller. So there's like texting, which we do 20,000 text messages a month.
Wow.
There is email. We blast emails as well. There is sending letters. We send letters. There is ringless voicemail. Have you heard about that? There's software.
Oh, yes, I do. We do those, like with our CRM.
Yep.
So it's like a mass call, but it's just like a voicemail.
It doesn't ring or anything. It just shows on your phone like you got a voicemail. So people are curious and they call me about it, and I have specific things that I don't say, but my employees say in the voicemail that will bring them attention, and they will call us back, and that's when we hook them. Hey, would you like to sell your property? I actually don't use the word would you like to sell. I use the word would you like to have an offer on your property. I don't use the sell. And they're like, no, I'm not interested. And my employees, they push a little bit because I taught them to do, hey, there's no obligation on your part. We just want to give you an offer. And that's how we start the relationship. And then there's follow up. There was one deal in Florida that took me 2 years to get it done, but I made $20,000.
Yeah.
So I was happy about it. And it was just in the follow up. Every 3 months, we follow up with them.
Yeah.
Unless they're rude or they're like kind of crazy about how much they want, we just stop right away and we remove them from the CRM. But back to the subdivision. So I do all types of reaching out to the seller, all imaginable types. That's why I have a big team. I have like 9 virtual assistants, and they're in the Philippines. So,
I've been hearing a lot about that.
Oh, they're amazing. I love them. I've been using virtual assistants forever. And finally, for the past 3 years, I built my whole team because I was tired of hiring companies and, they don't do a good job or they don't pay their employees. And I was like, I'm going to make my own. So they work for me. I pay them on a 2-week basis. Everything is done on the CRM. I can listen to the calls, I can see the text message and everything. But the reason I have so many is because at least one person is not working every day because of bad internet. Philippines, they don't have good connections. So 1 or 2 people, they're not working a day. But the subdivision, so I started learning December 2023. I listened to a guy's podcast or video on YouTube, and he was like, I'm flipping these lands. I'm doing the subdivisions. I'm like buying 200 acres and creating 100 different parcels and selling. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And I'm just a guy that just act.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it. The same thing when back in 2019. This guy was sharing the location where he was doing his subdivisions.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to go there. I'm going to download a bunch of properties and I'm going to start mailing these sellers. Would you like to sell your property? Would you like to have an offer in this case? And people started calling me, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Normal, right? And I was like, when I started getting the calls, I'm like, I don't know what to do because it's out of my leagues, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how much to offer. I don't know how to do a subdivision. So I hired this guy. He has a mastermind. So I paid him, and I started going to the classes every Friday, bring my deals. I would talk to sellers, and he would give me like, hey, listen, this you cannot subdivide. This is too expensive. This doesn't have enough road frontage. It would be too expensive to build roads. And finally, after I think 5 months of bringing deals, like every Friday, I would bring at least 2 sellers that I talked to, so he could help me to see if it was a deal or not. So that's why it's important to have other people help you. So I got a contract signed. It is in West Texas for $1 million a contract for 200 acres. I don't have $1 million liquid. So what I did was I brought people with the expertise from this group. So I brought people that did subdivisions next to mine. And I was like, hey, I'm going to give you a profit of my deal, but you come in and you help me. Because I don't know any road guys. There's water studies that you have to do. There's you have to dig wells. You have to have survey done. It's complicated, but at the same time, it's not complicated. So I was like, I bring you in, we'd get a deal. I flew to Texas to see the property. It was under contract already. Good thing about my business is, and I can go back to it, all these properties, the one that I gave you example in Tennessee, I have never been to Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't have to. I hire photographers, right?
Yeah.
They do the job for me. But for the Texas, it was $1 million purchase price. And these guys that I brought in, they already brought 2 people with money. So I already had funding for it, right? That's how I raised capital. When I saw the property, I was like, met with the seller in there, amazing guy. And I knew he had another 800 acres. So he had 1,000 acres left. When I saw the property, I was like, I want it all.
Yeah.
I told him, and he's like... There was a negotiation back and forth, and he's like, I already promised to sell 200 acres to this neighbor, but I'll sell you the other 800 acres. So I was like, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And we negotiated a $3.1 million purchase price for the whole thing. And I went back to the investors that were giving the $1 million, and they're like, Luis, we're in.
Yeah.
We'll do it with you. So that's how I came to subdivisions, just by trial and error and just making tons of offers. I make a lot of offers, Tiffany, all day long. I'm making offers all day long. My employees are calling for offers. And then there's improvements to be done in the property that we had to do. There's water tests, everything else. That's why I had to raise $3.4 million because there's a lot of cost involved.
Well, because you have to build the roads.
You have to build the roads.
Like water, you said, and add utilities, basically?
No utilities because we're doing 1+ acres.
Okay.
And in Texas, you don't have to give them utilities. You have to show that there is enough water on the ground.
Okay.
And that's why you do the water study, which was about $50,000.
And then
you dig some wells as well.
Yeah. And then you make it into, so if somebody wanted to get a loan individually, they have to be on separate parcels. So then that's your next step. Then you cut all those acreages basically so multiple people can own, on it.
So we hired surveyors, right?
Yeah.
And surveyors, they go there, they take all the dimensions and they cut according to the regulation.
Yeah.
And for us, we want 1 acre, 2.5 acres, 5 acres, 10 acres, depending on the location. So we cut the property into about 420 parcels.
Wow.
So one parcel became 420. And after
Are they
that,
townhomes?
Huh?
Would it be like townhomes?
Anything they want.
Yeah.
It's residential. We're stipulating that, but the crazy thing about Texas, which people don't realize, is that I'm doing outside city limits.
Okay.
And it's much easier in Texas to do that than anywhere else. So they can build anything they want, Tiffany, anything, and they don't have to ask for permits with the city. They just don't. It's freaking West Texas. It's wild. So
and out here, you have to get permits for literally everything. Yeah.
Right. That's why we sold so many lots, So we created 420, and then we're selling in phases because if we put 420 lots on the market, we're going to saturate.
Yeah.
So we put about 125 lots for sale last November, and we sold over 105 of them.
Wow.
So seller finance, yes. A bunch of these people, they don't have the cash or they don't want to pay cash for the property because they want to use the cash to build.
Yeah.
And you cannot get construction, you cannot get a loan on pure land. You have to have the plans to build. It's super complicated.
Like the new construction loan. Like, yeah, if they came to me, they would have to basically have the whole breakdown, contractors.
They have to have 30%, right?
For that one, yeah, depending on, I mean, other factors go into it, but I think I just priced one out, at least 25 to 30, yeah.
So you see, in my case, like, I want to offer it to the buyer as easy as possible. So what I do with almost every single property that I have, it's like, all right, you can buy it from me, let's say $25,000, or you can sell or finance. Give me $5,000 down and pay the rest in 5 years at a 9.9% interest. So that's what we did.
For the land or for the building too?
For the land.
Just
the building's up to them. I don't do anything with building. I'm not a builder. I'm not a developer. I'm just the land guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
land.
Just literally.
If there's a house in the property, I will not buy unless it's Texas and there's multiple acreages and the house, so that might make sense. But if, like, I do deals in Arizona, there's a house, they call me with a house, I don't do it. I just like just pure land.
Just pure land. Yeah,
it's much easier. There's no termite. There's no roof. There's no foundation inspection. There's nothing. You just got to check about the utilities. And then, I was buying 2 vacant lots in Maricopa County, Arizona. And I was using someone else's money again. $50,000 purchase price.
Okay.
And hired a photographer to go there before I buy it, right? So I do my due diligence. And there was trash in the property. I told the seller, hey, there's trash in the property. Or you drop the price, or you clean it up. He didn't want to do any of the things, so I canceled the contract. And
what kind of trash? Like, how to get it canceled? Like, was it a lot?
It was a lot. Yeah,
it was
a lot. Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking like trash, like, like
like tires, old tires.
Yeah, just a
like
whole like
fences.
junkyard back there.
Yeah, a little bit of junkyard. So, and he didn't want to do anything, and I didn't want to buy it. So I'm out of my pocket for $200 for the photographer. Yeah. But I'm perfectly fine. It's just the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
I could never know if I didn't hire the photographer, and that's one of the reasons that I do hire photographers for every single lot that I have under contract.
Yeah. And it's still, you're going to have expenses.
Yeah. It's low compared to anything else.
I know. It's like that. I mean, we definitely have, everything in our loan business is that we pay for, we don't get paid until the loan funds, and even if they choose us, technically there's no, like, they're
obligated.
It's not binding. So,
oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Like, even closer, even if we, you could possibly still be shopped like during, a process.
I see.
It's unlikely.
It happens. Yeah.
It's unlikely, like, maybe if something totally goes south, or maybe if there's a big rate drop or something right in the middle of it, like something like that. But yeah, it's nothing's set in stone until it's closed. So
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a property in Texas, another one. So this one, I got it under contract for $250,000.
Okay.
I wanted to do a subdivision, but it was only 20 acres, so I decided not to. And of course, like I told you, I hire photographers, so the guys put for sale signs, and people call me, and I found a buyer for it the way it is, as is. So I'm under contract with the seller for $250,000, and I'm under contract with the buyer for $305,000.
Nice.
It's a double close, Texas. So
those are the best. Yeah.
Yes, I'm praying that it will close. I'm praying that it will close. Right, everything is set that will close and everything else. But like you said, till it's closed.
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
It's not. Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, I have tons of other deals that will back me up. That's why I love land, because my pipeline is huge. I have over 30 properties for sale. I have one subdivision also that I did in Colorado, all on my own. So I put my money to work. I did everything, and it's for sale right now. I bought 1 acre, and I subdivided into 4 parcels.
How much are the parcels? So, like, back to that Texas one, like, if somebody wanted to invest in that,
okay,
how much is the land? Like in Texas, West Texas?
So, it's pretty cheap. It's like a number that you're never gonna believe in California. So it's $25,000 for 1 acre.
So wild. And then they could just like build a home on there.
They can build anything they want, but they are gonna be the ones that are gonna. We are providing the electricity, but they're gonna be the ones that are gonna have to pay the connection fee, and the water, the well, and the septic. They are the ones that are gonna have to do it too. But it's like under $10,000. And there's so much water flow in there. The gallons per minute, it's amazing. So we had to do so many reports for the state, for the county to get it approved that the buyers are comfortable with.
Yeah.
So $25,000, just dirt. They do the improvements. And then we do the seller finance. You give us $2,000 down payment, and then you pay us $570 for 5 years at a 9.9 interest rate.
Wow.
So let's say we sold over 100 properties. 85% of the people that buy property from us, Tiffany, they buy on seller finance. So we have all these notes, right?
Yeah.
These receivables that we get every month. But we don't want to be holding all those notes.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're finding investors that want passive cash flow, and we're selling the notes to them at a discount. Let's say we have notes at 10 a year, and the note is valued at unpaid balance is $46,000. We're selling to investors for $31,000.
Wow.
And they will collect the payments, but for 10 years. So they get a 20% yield on their money. And then we have notes for 5 years. The notes are about $26,000 unpaid balance, and we're selling for about $21,000. So they get $5,000 in 5 years. So there's a lot to be done. And the reason we're selling the notes, notes.
Yeah.
Like, you know what the banks do. They bundle all together. They get a bunch of notes together, and they sell it to other institutions. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah. And it's also another investment opportunity.
Yeah.
Like if they don't want to be hooked to the land, like just get the note. I know a lot of people that are starting to do that instead of like fully go through, some of the other investing options of like or niches. If they just want like passive income and
super passive income. And what happens is if they don't pay, the buyer doesn't pay, you foreclose on them. Texas is like a state that's landlord friendly. It's not California tenant friendly.
No.
And that's why I don't do many deals in California. I still do in California, but it's just buy low, sell high.
California?
Well, I buy lots by Palm Springs, Apple Valley, Barstow, where you can buy them for 10, 15, 25, and you can double your money. You can sell it for 50, for 25, for 15, I just made an offer before coming in here to a guy. He has a property near Palm Springs. I offered him $25,000. And I know that the property is worth 40. So,
what would the land, the land would be 40 out here?
$40,000, yeah.
Wow, so.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
Out there is cheap, right?
Yeah.
We live in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
We're spoiled. But there's buyers that will buy land. It's not for me, not for you to live in, but there's a lot of people. So I offered $25,000, and I know that the worst case scenario, I can sell that property for $40,000, right? There's closing costs involved. Let's say I walked away with $12,000. I'm happy.
Yeah. No,
but
it's definitely, it sounds like a good turnaround on everything.
Yeah. It is. So for the Texas one, going back, if there are investors out there, they're like, I want to invest, I want to get a good return, but I don't want to have the hustle.
Yeah.
So that's a good place to do. If they foreclose on the property, they get the land back and they sell it again. I've done it.
Yeah.
I got my property back from people that did not pay me. What I do, I sell it again and I collect more money, I don't have to give them their money back. There's, of course, things that you have to do. And the other side is, so I'm raising capital now to go for my next subdivisions, right?
Yep.
I'm going to Texas next Thursday to see more projects. So if someone is interested and they want to get a good return on their money, they can come with me and they can be partners on my next deal. They can bring the money and help me fund the purchase price. And then I sell the lots and do all the subdivision myself. I do all the work, and then they just collect the check for their profits.
That's awesome. So depending on what the purchase price is, how many partners you usually have on there? So it's not several, right?
No, not several.
Just a couple,
just
maybe
a couple,
3 or 4.
Yeah. But depends on the purchase price too. For the $3.4 million purchase price, 2 people came with all the money, so I didn't have to find
anything
more
else,
things, you know. But of course, it came at a higher cost to myself. So right now, I need to diversify, and I need to give the investors good return and preferred return. Of course, they will get their money first, then the money that I'm gonna get. But I can't give them as much as I gave on this one.
Yeah.
But still, it's like a 16% at least cash on cash return on your money.
Nice. And what is your advice to, if you have newer investors that are kind of looking to diversify a little bit, but have not really like looked into land, like where would they really get started?
So go to my Instagram. It's like Luis Land Coach. And I have many podcasts that I have done with people that I teach. And if you start opening your eyes for land, you're going to see so much opportunity.
Everywhere, yeah.
Everywhere there's a piece of lot, you know. And again, I like to invest in small America that's growing. Huntington Beach, it's not small America.
No.
Los Angeles is not small America. It's already built cities. Austin, Houston, Phoenix, those are not the areas that I go to because there's too much competition. I go to other areas where it's starting to grow, starting to get better, and at the same time, I'm buying them for so low that if something happens, there's a recession or prices change, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get hurt.
And when you're doing the land, we kind of talked about it before, but in this market, so most of people in real estate have been more affected, you know, during this current market. But you don't feel like, it sounds like you have not really stopped at all. Like,
no, I can't stop.
That the current conditions have not affected your business.
No, I can't stop.
Yeah,
First
so
of all,
that's amazing.
every single deal that I do is off market.
Yep.
So I download a bunch of sellers, bunch of people that have properties in a certain area, and then I reach out to them, right? And I offer cash, so I don't need a mortgage to back me up. And it's harder to sell properties because of how high interest rate is.
Yep.
And I come along and I'm like, hey, I'm offering you cash. There's no mortgage. There's nothing to be worried about. So it actually helps me because there's less people buying.
Yep.
And I come along and I want to buy it. You know, as long as I get a good discount, as long as I have a good price, I'll buy it. And it's land, of course. I'm not going to go for houses, multifamily, nothing like that.
Okay.
So it does not affect me. And I'm the guy that believes in outreach every single day. Doesn't matter if I have 50 projects, I'm going to still be looking for the next one. Because
that's just prospect.
It's insane how much I prospect. It's insane. I don't think the normal people do that.
Yeah.
And it's just something that I learned early on. It's just like you got to keep going. I think Grant Cardone says like 10x, right? I do 10x in land all day long. I'm making like at least 1,000 offers a week. 1,000 offers.
So wild.
It's wild.
Like,
there's ways.
I
there's,
know.
There's
I need
like
to be
ways
prospecting
to do
more.
average, you know, to do average comparable analysis, and then you can make an offer without looking at one property. You just know the whole area. There's so many ways that you can do. But I think everything in life, if you're like, let's say you're applying for a job, you got to apply to 1,000 companies to get a good job, and then to have the option, because when you go for an interview, how about if you don't like the company that you are talking to and you don't have any other options? I want to have as many options
it's like desperate.
available.
Then you're gonna eventually. It's not going to be a good fit. You're just doing it to do it.
Yeah, and you know, our business is outreaching people. It's talking to people, and that's why my employees are every day, Saturday and Sunday. They work Saturday and Sunday too.
Yeah,
they're calling sellers every hour of the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes they work 10 hours a day. I'm like, whoa, good for you. I'll pay you. I tell them, I don't care how many hours you work. I'll pay you as long as you have work.
Yeah.
And I track everything. There's softwares out there that can allow you, they have to clock in, and I track their hours. And I see their screen, like this app that I use. It takes screenshots of their screenshots every 10 minutes or so.
I worked at a place that I mean, everything in that system was basically being recorded.
Yeah.
So like everything.
I don't want anyone to take advantage of me.
Yeah. And everything 100%. And the calls were basically more like that. I don't outreach the same as like with them because it was like a dialer. So it was like inbounds coming in. We're actually we're opening up a call center. Actually, one of the guys here, he's going to open it. He's going to stay in Mexico and like kind of live there for a bit. So that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you get cheap labor.
That's going to be
good professional people that need the money, and it's much better to work from a
gonna be
computer
new
than working in a
call
restaurant.
center. That will help us on the inbounds, and then we do a lot of mailers.
Okay, mailers
So,
are amazing.
Mailers, I love mailers too. We just did.
They're expensive though.
Yeah, we do.
I started with mailers in the beginning, and they were cheap. Now they're so expensive. So that's why I had to open my eyes for texting, voicemail, all of the other things.
I don't know if people are annoyed at me yet on the texting. Like, I
works.
mostly text. Yeah. I like to text. I do the calls. I don't do as many emails.
You can do. There's companies out there that you can send thousands of emails.
I have a CRM system. Yeah. I do like a newsletter.
Some of my emails are going to spam now because I did so many.
Yeah.
So, it's just.
But some of these, but I know personally, like, some of the things that I sign up for, some of these, because now it's at this point, like, everybody has a CRM, right? And like,
yeah, you have
it's literally everybody does. So now it's like my emails, like, I don't have any storage, like, it's crazy. And I try to unsubscribe. But it's like there's some, big names out there that, you hook up to their thing and it's just like a million emails a day.
Yeah.
And even when I unsubscribe, it's like they're all different. So
it's insane. It's insane
it's
how
like they're
our
all
data.
different. And I literally sat there one day and I was like, trying to unsubscribe. And I was like, whatever. Because
Whatever,
it's like even when I unsubscribe.
It's when they sell your data,
Yeah.
right? So your data, it's not when you opt in for a company, they're selling that data to someone else. How do I reach out to so many sellers? It's because I skip trace. Do you know the term of skip trace?
I hear it in like wholesaling, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So skip trace is like you're going to give someone a list of people and then they will find all their phone numbers related to that person and all their email addresses.
Yeah.
So it's all data. I pay for everything, right? I have to pay to do those things, but that's how I get it done. And one more thing is like, if someone is trying to learn how to do this business, I am a coach. So I have students right now. I have a course available on how to flip land.
Do you do events?
I don't
like
do events.
mastermind yet?
No, I should, right?
Yeah.
Too busy with the land. So I created a course where it teaches you everything from A to Z, how to get the property under contract, use the contracts that I use, and how to get that property sold, everything, all the available videos. And also have a coaching 101, which is more expensive, but I go into like just with that person every single week explaining what to do. But the main thing is work. I work every day. My employees work every day. So if you are someone that want to do that, at least allow yourself 2 hours a day. And that's how I started till I saw that there is enough juice to be squeezed. I was like, dude, now I need to be full time. Forget about being a realtor. Let's be a full time land investor.
Yeah.
So, I work every day and I love what I do. I really do. I help people, properties off market. I get it under contract and then I find a buyer. The person most likely will build or do something with the land. Mm-hmm. And sellers, they're a lot of sellers, they're lazy. Let's say I have a car, I want to sell a car, and I don't want to go through the trouble. I'm going to take it to the dealer. The dealer is going to offer me less money, which I know.
Yes.
And he's going to make money. That's the same thing with me. The seller will call me.
You don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So you'll pay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So sellers don't want to deal with it. They don't want to hire realtors. Realtors are not the best at selling land. You see a lot of land listings out there that are bad. So they sell it to me because of the convenience. Mm-hmm. Because I'm offering them the security, and I'm offering less money, of course. But they don't have to do anything. Literally, they just answer to the calls, and when we send the documents, me or the title company, they sign the documents and they get a check. That's about it.
Yeah, you definitely have this like hustle grind, like just prospecting about you.
Thank you.
That
Yes.
you're like, I'm just gonna call all day. Yeah, 10x vibes. I wish I kind of had that more with the prospecting. I definitely am more of like a relationship person,
I see.
like this, like this stuff, and like I've done a ton of these and like built more relationships that way. But when it's just like straight up, like I can call all my lists. Like I just called all my old clients in all my states and stuff, and
You know what?
just
I'm
bonded
not
with
good at a
them.
relationship. I don't do that.
See, that's why it's so
I
hard
don't.
to see it. That's why it's so hard to, really get that balance. But it's like for mine, it's more of a service.
I see,
So
yeah.
I am, but I feel like
But you never
are
know,
so
Tiffany. You're
good.
like your relationship. You never know if you're gonna work with them right now or 5 years
No, it
from
could
now.
be, but that's the thing.
I don't like it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Even I know that eventually, like earlier you said like, oh, it's been 2 years. Like honestly, even this year, like somebody, I mean, there's somebody that I'm working with now that I met a year ago. So I'm waiting on a couple documents, but it's like, yeah, you never know how long it's going to
never
be. But that's why it's like in my sense, like, yeah, I don't like cold call all the time, but I'm like constantly at the events meeting people because
I
I'm
see.
like, dude, they might need something
That's
in a
how you
year
get the business
or
then,
2
yeah.
years. Yeah. Even in 5 years, like I talk to people that it's like, oh my gosh, like, I met them like 3 years ago and they're like, hey, I'm ready. Like you just
Don't know.
But if you keep, I let them, I'll call like I just called all like my past clients and stuff. But we just kind of, shoot the shit a little bit and like, have a conversation,
I
see where
know.
they're at. I get their goals.
Sometimes
But-
I'm like sometimes I'm straight to the point, and
that's why it's like the
Yeah.
land, because the two that you do, the one that you said, but it fits you, So I think it's about finding where you fit. Like I'm definitely more like social, emotional, but realtor is more of an emotional
It
service.
is, so
It's
much.
emotional. It's more of an emotional buy, like from residential to like commercial. So I know a lot of realtors
There's more
out there.
attachment, right?
Yeah.
On the residential
well,
side.
absolutely. Because if you're on the residential side, you're working with two people that just got married that might, that while they're walking through the house, they're going to be like, oh, do we want kids? Like,
Right.
they're going to be basically designing their lives in there. So, and
Yes.
you're going to be a part of it.
Yep.
Like, hey, I really need this. And I know a lot of people that are more structured like yourself that are just like the grind makes sense to them. I just want to get the money in. I just want to get this. And, they try out the realtor part and then they're like, oof, I need to be just like commercial. So
Yeah.
just like numbers make sense
So one good
and
thing
no
about
emotions in it.
yeah,
Like your sellers don't
very
really,
little
they don't
emotion.
have emotion.
No. The ones that I list as a realtor, I kind of I help them as much as I can, and I know that I'm providing a service is totally different than just buying and selling
Yeah.
land. But the attachment that you mentioned about why people sell their lots, because there's no attachment most of the times. They have
Yeah.
not raised their kids in there. They live in
Yeah.
another country or another state,
100%.
another county. So that's why there's the
Yeah,
results
no.
are much better.
Yeah.
Because there's no attachment
Because it's just
to
like
it.
a numbers game.
It's just a numbers game, a big
And they
numbers game.
sometimes it's a relief, like just take this off my hands.
Take this off my hands.
But with the real estate, yeah, if you're working with regular, even investors are different. So I just sent like for a DSCR loan to an investor, it's like, again, that's all numbers game. There's no
game.
emotion. He's like, get me something lower, like he's like, burp, 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 like just checking all the boxes. Like, okay, no, like this ruins my deal. Like he could,
And that's a good thing too, because we're fast.
instantly see
We
it,
move
yeah.
fast. Like with the
Yeah.
house, and you're showing house, and you're like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. I'm like, oh, come on.
I could just imagine you, like, I can imagine you just kind of like, but the people that you do help, they're already your like,
They
your
kinda know me,
clients.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like you're just with like a random new kind of couple just.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I meet people randomly.
Yeah.
One time I met a guy and his wife and the kids on the park, and they hired me to help them buy the house.
Nice.
And I just ran with. I was just like, let's go. Let's find it right now. Let's get the best deal possible to yourself.
Did you get them in there?
I got them in there.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And, it's a few tries, because the thing that I don't like the most is like showing homes to potential buyers that are not decisive.
That's what.
That's all of them.
It. That is.
It's a lot of time involved.
That's
I'd rather like be
literally-
making 100 offers.
That's so funny because that's literally what it is. And
Yeah.
like a lot of them, especially in this market, before like 2021 was gnarly. Like you're out shopping and you're just writing offers. You might be shopping a little longer because of how many offers were on the table.
But you would get it.
But it's like you keep putting them in. I mean, and you were qualified and you guys kept going. Eventually, it would probably take, 3 to 6 months. Like now we're with the lower inventory, we're in more, and the fluctuation, we're in more within that year,
Yeah,
that it
for
might
sure.
take 6 months, 8 months to a year to really kind of, after a couple of offers, get them in the home. And
Yeah. So what I do have to do, and I'm aware of it, it's like building more
Yeah.
of the relationship and like kind of putting more of them on my CRM and trusting the process.
Yeah.
So that's something that I have to do myself, and I understand.
and you never know, they might want land.
Because my lots are not
You
nearby.
That's where I'm getting now, is where I already have. So now I'm starting to be able to have other conversations with them, like get them in other investments rather than
Yes.
just like, because now I have made all these relationships. So now it's more about, kind of setting up other goals with them and like, oh, are you trying to invest in like utilizing?
It's different for you too, because
Yeah.
you have so many products that you can sell.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to explain to them and check what their needs are. On mine, it's like, do you need cash for your land? I'm here.
Yeah.
And then when I sell it,
Yeah.
let's do it. I'm selling to someone that's going to build or not going to build. I don't mind. I don't care.
Like you don't care after.
I don't really.
Yeah, ours is
I never check on them. Have you been building? Are you building your home? Like
what are you gonna do in here?
I
Like,
of
see,
course I
would
have their
wanna
phone
know.
numbers on my
Yeah.
buyers list, because every single time I have a property in that area location, every single one will know. So I can try to sell it to them. So I have a huge buyers list for every single area that I work in a bunch of states.
That's
I keep it
amazing.
down the track.
Well, I wanted to thank you so much for coming in. We're going to wrap up. I'm going to have
Tiffany.
Luis, all of his information below, and your coaching program. And if you want to get into land, or if you want to, I guess, buy some land, cutthroat, just no emotions.
Or raise some
just-
capital, like if you
raise
want to get a
capital.
good return, or if you want to buy some notes at a passive cash
Oh,
flow.
the notes is really good, yeah.
Yeah, so just when you reach out to me, please mention Tiffany, so we can work together, right? Because she's helping me a lot by putting myself on this podcast and showing me to more people. So that's how we work together. We're helping, as soon as I get a new project, I'm gonna tell her, because she has
That's
so many people with money. So she's gonna be like, all right, let's do it. Let's raise that capital and let's get it done.
Yes, I'm probably not going to learn how to buy and sell land because I'm already, but
Yeah, you have your niche, right?
But I'm gonna have to hire him to help me raise capital
Yeah,
because I want to get better at that. That's my thing this year.
raising
Is
capital.
like,
Here you go.
yes. Because now I'm always with investors. I'm on a couple of projects and I am helping raise capital. But, you have to learn from the best. And there's certain things to say and just like really good approaches
Right.
that like strategically
I think
that will help better.
The thing
Will
about
help more.
raising capital, in my opinion, of
Yeah.
course, is having a good product, a solid thing that will give
Yeah.
X amount of returns to your investors. There's a lot of people that raise capital for future investments. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I would never do that. I don't say never, sorry, because I'm actively looking for all kinds of opportunities.
Yeah.
So for me, in this moment of my life, if I have the right project, that's when I want to raise capital for that right project. But if I don't have the right project, I don't see why raising capital for future things and trusting someone, that he might get a deal right now in 6 months, or he might get a deal in 1 year, and your money's locked in and you don't know when you're going to get that money back.
Or like, yeah. Or
if
like
I'm raising capital, Tiffany, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do with the property that I'm buying. I have it under contract already and everything else, and I'll tell you when your return is going to come, and everything else.
Yeah. And that's how it should be. That's why even when you're raising capital, you should be with a team that has a full pitch deck already, like all the numbers ready to go, especially on these bigger projects. I do work with one realtor up north, and I am partnered with him on like a big project in Missouri. So it's a new construction. But it's a really good one, but he's like all the numbers, everything together. I bring investors for like webinars and
that's
stuff.
amazing. So. He has the product, right?
Yes.
So he has the product
and
already.
It's replicated. It's something that's already crushing it in Arizona and other states. And it's like assisted living. So it's
assisted living is
it's going to be
so
really
nice.
good there. Yeah. And then it's like you think about your investment, the returns already look good, like on paper, of course, not fully built yet. It's going to start building this year. But it's also attached to like a company that is going to already have everything maintained. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And then like for the there's like 28 attached, or 28 single family attached that are like 350,000, but it's like the people living in it, they're just going to be like, old ladies for a couple of years. Like the wear and tear is not going to, it's not going to be like if you rent out to like a family of, a family
so
of
the
4 or
good thing
6.
that I would say about this is just vetting the people that you want to invest with. Mm-hmm. Have they done projects, similar projects? How was their return? And getting all that paperwork to build the trust, right? Once you have the trust and you have the documents proving that they have done it and they have made money, why not? Amazing. But if they have not done it and they just want the money to try it out, it's a little bit harder. So you got to ask yourself, an investor, more return on that, right?
Awesome.
So for me, it's all numbers, track record. Show me your track records, and I will tell you if you're successful or not. And success is different for every single person. For myself, it's just working on my business and making offers and helping other people.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to have all the information below. Thank you so much for coming. If this was helpful to you, feel free to like, share, comment, or subscribe. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tiffany.